Welcome to this channel, and do not forget to comment, share and subscribe so that you can be the first to receive every new update as soon as we release it. Let us go straight into the analysis of our movie Big Boss, covering episodes 28 to 29, to see the heavy matters and shocking events that are about to unfold in this journey of secret wealth and dark shadows. At the very beginning of the scene, we see Sikitu, the wife of Kaneki, in a state of great uncertainty and curiosity mixed with a fear that torments her heart. Dressed in her beautiful red outfit that enhances her natural black beauty and makes her look like a true queen, she finds herself unable to restrain her feelings of wanting to investigate her husband's affairs. Sikitu takes a key in great secrecy, creeping like a cat to avoid being heard, and heads toward that secret room which has been forbidden since the very first day they moved into that mansion. That room is a taboo for anyone to step into, whether a wife, a relative, or a worker, and Kaneki has placed a stern warning against anyone who tries to open it. Sikitu tries to insert the key and open that door with extreme caution, while her heart beats fast like a rhythmic drum, but the strange thing is that the door does not open at all, refusing as if some dark force or a spiritual lock is holding it from within. Despite this state of chasing secrets, Sikitu has been a very good wife in her marriage with Kaneki, persevering and comforting her husband, but the thirst to know the truth about the secret documents makes her appear like an untiring detective within their luxurious palace that is filled with the scent of betrayal and deep occult mysteries. On the other side, the life of the tycoon Mutula is increasingly becoming one of sorrow, shame and a level of weakness that has never been seen in a man of such great wealth. We see Mutula sitting shirtless on the edge of his bed with his wife, trying to perform the marital act to fulfill their basic human needs, but the matter fails completely and brings an indescribable embarrassment. The big and saddening secret here is that Mutula is not a complete man functionally, and this is because in that secret society of wealth he joined to get quick riches, he was given a difficult and humiliating condition of being a homosexual, essentially acting as a woman in the spiritual and physical world. This condition has completely destroyed his male system and made it impossible for him to raise his rod and make love to his beautiful wife Chi, which is a great insult to any man. This matter leads even to his wife wondering greatly and being struck with bewilderment, asking herself why her husband, who has power, health and plenty of money, fails to fulfill his duty in bed. But in great secrecy, Mutula had already destroyed his manhood for the sake of worldly pleasures and luxury cars. So his wife, with gentle and comforting words, tells him that perhaps his rod has not yet become accustomed to the environment, and perhaps one day things will change and they will do as usual. She insists that he should not force himself too much because he will get hurt for nothing, and he is exhausting his body, something that stabs Mutula like a spear in the heart. So with those sweet words of comfort, Chi, Mutula's wife, pulls up her sheet in that thick night and rests, while Mutula remains dazed, reflecting on what could have happened within that night and how his conditional wealth is tormenting him, humiliating him and denying him the true joy of marriage. Our scene of Kaneki and his wife continues and moves forward with great speed, as the atmosphere becomes even heavier within their house. We see Kaneki, having found his wife Sikitu, still struggling at that door, trying with all her strength to open that secret room, and that is when Kaneki is overcome by rage and anger, and he begins to complain to his wife very sharply why she is doing that when she knows clearly that she has been forbidden many times from entering or even approaching that room. Truly, wealth with conditions has no benefit in a human life. It is a matter of high-level torment, doubt, and an endless disaster that removes the peace of the family. I advise my fellow youth, when looking for wealth, let us not use shortcuts, because true wealth is a step and a long process, and not something that just happens in one day like a dream. As the experts of the English language say, wealth is not an overnight dream, but it is a process. Along with all that, Sikitu, Kaneki's wife, complains with great bitterness, and claims that whenever her husband enters that room he speaks with sugar mummies and secret women like Penine, and she fully believes that they are his source of wealth, after being connected by the tycoon Mutula to those networks of wealthy older women. She questions with pain why their wealth has to be so fast, and why her husband has placed walls of secrecy between them. After those heavy arguments, Kaneki emphasized to his wife with a voice of authority that she should never again try to enter that room, because its consequences are great. Kaneki asked her sharply, "What has made you enter that room? Because you, woman, have become very nosy these days." And Sikitu answered him with a face of bitterness, sorrow and much rage, saying that what kind of woman can live in a house with all the rooms and then be restricted from only one? She said she knew exactly what her husband was doing, claiming that he usually chats with other women and then pretends that the room has very important office documents. But Kaneki's position remained firm and solid, that no one should be seen, whether it is his wife, a worker or any guest, peeping into that room, because it will lick them, meaning that the forces within that room can take the life of anyone who violates that command. I remind you to subscribe to this channel so that you do not miss the thrill of such powerful movies from right here in our country Tanzania, where we continue forward with this beautiful analysis. On another side again, inside a beautiful luxurious mansion with attractive and colorful lights shining like stars, we see Tajiri Tony with his relatives who have come with the intention of reconciliation. Tony's relatives have come to apologize on their own without being forced, after falling out with him badly back in the slums due to life differences and perspectives. The elder brother begins to speak with humility, saying that they have come there for the purpose of asking for his forgiveness, and even if Tony does not attend family funerals because of his work, that to them is no longer a problem because they recognize that all the money for burying Sister Anifa was provided by him with great generosity. He says in figurative language that even if Tony does not come, the deceased will still be buried with respect, and if he comes he will be buried just the same, so Tony has contributed enough. The elder brother says he has come to ask for forgiveness for what happened in the village and how their aunts chased Tony away with contempt, believing he had nothing. They plead with Tony to forget the past and focus on the future for the sake of their family's destiny. Also, the elder brother introduced the new guests he came with so that they could live there at Tony's to get a relief in life, good food and better shelter than that life of trouble and congestion in the slums. Among those guests was a young boy named Athuman, and the elder brother without hiding warned Tony that this boy has a long hand, meaning he has a chronic habit of stealing, so it is a must for Tony to stay with him with extreme caution. He says even if he wakes up in the morning and finds that something of value has disappeared within that luxurious mansion, he should not look for a wizard, but instead catch Athuman because he is the champion of taking without permission. After those long explanations, the elder brother took those guests to show everyone their room where they would be sleeping while they are there at Tony's. Tony himself, with great surprise and anxiety in his heart, fully believed that because of falling out with his relatives earlier, that would have been the best way for him to live a life of happy solitude, luxury and the angels of the earth, meaning those hot and beautiful city girls that he would want to bring inside at any time. Therefore he forgave his relatives even though he had no true joy within his soul, because he knew now they would be a nuisance and would be bothering him for many domestic needs and their family's needs back in the slums every day. On the side of the sea with a gentle breeze, the sound of waves hitting the rocks, and a completely calm environment within this city of Bongo. In the quiet beaches with a unique attraction like those written in the holy books of the Bible, that is, beside the river Jordan and the sea of glass in heaven with the Father where there is eternal peace, we see the tycoon Matula and his close friend talking very deeply. They discuss openly about how love is sweet, and how God created the wonderful sweetness of that thing between the thighs of a human being for pleasure and reproduction. And in a saddening state, his friend advises Matula by asking him a provocative question. Why have you loved that woman Chi when you know clearly that your rooster cannot crow? He tells Matula that in his condition he is only humiliating himself, and why shouldn't he completely stay away from matters of love to remain with his respective wealth? Matula answers with weakness and a voice of despair that he has already loved that woman with all his heart, and sometimes he really desires to make love like other men, but his male power has evaporated. Here we learn that wealth from shortcuts ends in shame, humiliation, and permanent regret in the heart that even money cannot erase. His friend advised him that if he has ever heard of a medicine called Viagra, then that might be his savior. Matula answered yes, he had heard news of that medicine. So his friend told him to try using that medicine secretly, and perhaps that will be the only solution to remove that weakness and womanhood he was implanted with by the demons of their wealth society, which others call Freemason or the Society of Darkness. At the same time, things are becoming even hotter. Matula's wife, Chi, without mercy, brings a young man named Kiulizo, who is her former lover, inside that luxurious mansion with every kind of joy and grace, essentially a paradise on earth. Chi wants to taste the sweetness of love that her husband has failed to give her, but Kiulizo, having fear of the environment and respect for someone's wife, flatly refuses to do any act, saying that staying there is involving himself in disgrace and great problems that could cost him his life. After those saddening events, Mr. Makango appears leaving the hospital after checking on the mother of Clam Vavo dressed in a black suit that is well pressed and expensive, while moving near his luxurious car to leave that area. But suddenly he meets a young man wearing a black hat approaching Mr. Makango with respect and beginning to thank him very much for his generosity in giving him a 5 million shilling help for nursing his mother who was very sick and hospitalized. That young man says with a voice of gratitude that without Makango's help, he would not have been able to pay the hospital costs and perhaps his mother would have died sooner. Makango asked him with a hypocritical gentle voice, "How is mother doing for now?" That young man was very saddened, tears welling up in his eyes. Then he answered that his mother has already passed away and is no longer with us. Makango, knowing full well that he is part of a dark society that takes people's lives as a sacrifice for wealth, answers with a voice of sorrow, "May God lay that mother in a good place in heaven." But the truth is that Makango, Clamvivo, Matula and Tony are partners of the same society of blood wealth, where Makango is used to give poisonous help of death, and anyone who receives his help usually loses their life a short time later as part of the conditions of their wealth. While in those conversations, in the distance appears Zumba Boy with a pastor's wife heading to the hospital to see Clamvivo's mother. The pastor's wife, after seeing Makango, who is known for his wealth, had to stop to talk with him closely. She greeted him with respect and began to introduce herself that she is the pastor's wife from the village. Then she asked him to help her with Clamvivo's phone number because they lost contact for a long time. Makango answered her with a subtle contempt that for now she cannot see Clam and he cannot just give her his number. The pastor's wife, showing an obvious greed for property, insisted that she wanted him to join her husband the pastor into that society of wealth and power, so that they too could live a high-class life. And if it failed for her husband, then she asked Makango to join even her because she is ready to be wealthy at any cost, even if it is from the darkness. Makango answered her that for now they are not joining new people. But the pastor's wife insisted a lot while kneeling and humbling herself as if she was worshipping God, asking Makango to help her get that wealth. Finally, Makango helped her by giving her a phone number so that later they could communicate if it is possible to join her into the group of the wealthy. Then he started his car and left with great speed. On the other side, Kyulizo appears wearing his yellow t-shirt and with his two friends, one on the right and another on the left, telling them with fanfare what happened to him after going to his former lover Chi, who is now the wife of the tycoon Matula. He tells his friends how Chi lives in a very large luxurious mansion, and how that woman desired him and wanted to make love with him, but Kyulizo ran away because of the fear of the environment. His friends, who seemed to have a little wisdom, advised him sharply that what he is doing is very dangerous for his life, and 10 times that woman should come to his ghetto, rather than him going to the house of someone's wife, especially a big tycoon like Matula, because he is creating problems that could cost him his life. Kyulizo heard that advice and became very angry, claiming that his friends are giving him stupid advice and that they do not understand the sweetness of the opportunity he got. The rock, Kyulizo, played with a buku, 1,000 shillings, in front of them with contempt and left, confirming that saying of the Swahili that when feelings exceed the mind then every human being becomes a fool and loses the direction of life. So that became a very strange night of heavy puzzles, where Kaneki appears with his glass of water in hand trying to comfort his wife Sikitu to forgive him for what happened at the door. Sikitu looks at her husband with doubt and investigative eyes, asking him with a voice of pain why that room should not be entered even for cleaning. Or is it the room where Kaneki usually chats with his sugar mummies who connected him to wealth? Kaneki defends himself with a gentle voice that he cannot leave Sikitu for any other woman, but Sikitu gets tired and decides to ask for her divorce, otherwise she will return to her home immediately. Every way of persuading Sikitu failed, and there we see the truth of the saying that, one who rejects a good place, a bad place awaits them. The night was very difficult for Kaneki because when he wanted to tell her the truth of that room, Sikitu interrupted him and insisted on her divorce, claiming that she is tired of her husband's secrets that deny her sleep. Let us return now to the slums. There, in the environment of Vigadoro dancers, tiny dramas and lovers of pleasure every night, where in the family of Tony's aunt matters are hot. They are quarreling sharply because of being late to cook the night rice, and the elder aunt is scolding the youth and children with a high voice, claiming that they are fools for being late to cook while the night has set in deeply, a matter that shows the chaos of slum life. Suddenly, 2 women enter complaining that their husbands have been stolen by one of the girls of that family, and there the elder aunt scolds them with insults and words of scandal, claiming that they are logs in bed, which is why their husbands run away from them and go to others. They throw stones and heavy insults at each other until they leave in shame, then matters settle a bit while laughter and jabs continue. Another day begins where the pastor's wife appears inside a luxurious car with the tycoon Mr. Makango, talking in secret about the conditions of joining that society of darkness. It is saddening to see the pastor's wife being attracted to the wealth of demons while she should be a mirror of society. This teaches us that we should be careful with the greed of the women we marry because they can lead us to death. Within that same night of sorrow, Kaneki wakes up with caution and looks at his wife to see if she is truly asleep or if she is trapping him. He slowly uncovers the sheet and begins to creep toward that back door of his secret room, which is filled with darkness. It turns out inside that room there is a terrifying secret. There is a very large serpent that is frightening, which is the guardian of Kaneki's wealth. While Kaneki is entering inside, his wife Sikitu also appears behind him silently like a shadow to see what her husband is doing that night. Suddenly, Kaneki's younger brother named Maina appears to Sikitu and asks her with a low voice, "Sister-in-law, where are you going in this middle of the night?" Sikitu answers with a voice of weakness and exhaustion that she does not have even a grain of sleep and she wants to calm her mind. And there we reach the end of episode 28 to 29 of Big Boss. while being left with many questions about the fate of the marriage of Kaneki and Sakitu.